Welcome to Geek Hard Presents Hard Takes, the new show for nerds. I'm your host, comic writer, and occasional podcaster, Jay Torres. And with me is my co-host and producer, the godfather of Geek Hard, Mr. Green.
Breaking news, I've seen episode 2 of The Mandalorian, and there's still no damn Ewoks.
And spoiler alert, our guest panelist today is Geek Hard regular and our trivia team director of the Dry Erase Board, Kris Johnson.
Hey, this just in, David Caruso is now 70% transformed into whatever the fuck kind of alien ET is. So,
all right. So this is our first episode, our inaugural show, and hopefully this goes well. And if we do well enough, maybe we'll do more of these. So let's get to some news. All right, nerds. Headline: gun control. So James Gunn, he of I just totally drew a blank.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
Slither,
that's it. He of Guardians of the Galaxy, Peacemaker, and the Suicide Squad fame was recently named co-chairman and co-CEO of DC Studios, along with producer Peter Safran. And not too long after that, they announced a slate of movies in development and TV shows in development. My first question is, Mr. Green, how do you feel about James Gunn as the top gun over at DC Studios?
I'm looking forward to this. After the complete catastrophe that has been the past decade under the former regime, it is nice to see somebody in control who, so far in his recent past, seems to understand not only what a superhero movie is, but in discussing his plans for the future of DC, also got the most important part for me, which was understanding who and what Superman is and is all about. That was a big win for me. After that, we'll see. I liked a lot of what he's proposing as far as the lineup. You know, some interesting things in there, some different things. Not just like there is a Batman. Obviously, there's going to be like the Batman sequel, and there's going to be another Batman film on top of that.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we will. But I'm just like, other than that, like, the other characters being dealt with are not characters that we've seen on film before, or at least in any major way. So that's really cool for me. You know, like the fact that he's bringing back Swamp Thing based off of what he's done with his other things. I think a James Gunn produced Swamp Thing film is going to really kick ass. I'm looking forward to all of it, and somebody who actually cares about comic books.
All right, you're jumping the gun here a little bit, Mr. Johnson.
Hey,
what do you think about James Gunn?
Yeah, man, I'm with Green on this one. Like James Gunn, I've been a fan of his work since like the beginning. I really enjoyed pretty much every one of the best movies Zack Snyder ever made, written by James Gunn, baby, Dawn of the Dead. And having him in charge, like the Guardians movies have been phenomenal. I look forward to what he's doing. I found some of the announcements intriguing, like the fact that he's doing Batman and Robin, like Brave and the Bold, and you're getting Damian Wayne. It's like, okay, so I guess this Batman's been in operation for a while, but you got a Superman who's a young Superman. So
this is me symbolizing.
It's an interesting combination.
Here's a gun, and here's the two of you jumping it.
Oh yeah,
yes. Yeah. We'll get to the specifics a little bit more later in terms of the movies and TV shows announced. But is there any concern about this becoming Gunn as a Snyderverse? Do you know what I mean? Like, his sensibilities are great. I love his movies. Mm-hmm. I love his TV series that he's done. But I also love Taika Waititi. But I don't want everything to be like Ragnarok. Just like Snyder has his thing, I don't want everything to be the Snyderverse. Mr. Green, any concerns about the gun control?
I don't. Like I said, all of the things that again, looking backward, right, based off of the two Guardians films, what he's done with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, as his two entries into the DC universe, looking at those, but then extrapolating based off of what we got out of Guardians of the Galaxy, I have faith in not only a multi-handed any films that he works on having multi-handers, right? Like multiple casts, big casts. I don't have any problems with any of that stuff. I think, like I said, his words about Superman gave me a lot of hope. No pun intended.
And it stands for hope.
Yeah.
It means hope.
No, that just stop with that nonsense. When I look at it, like I said, when I look at it, I never wanted grimdark, and I don't think we're going to get any of that with James Gunn. And that's like, and for me, that is truly the biggest takeaway is no more grimdark, and I'm tired of it.
I mean, no more bright. What was that called? Bright side, bright space, bright farce. I don't even remember what that's called. But Kris, you're not worried. Listen, I love James Gunn. I love James Gunn.
Yeah,
almost 100%.
Yeah,
until we got to that Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
I like the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, but I mean, all that aside, I feel like the things that he's taught, like the way that he's laid it out and the books that he's referenced, and the fact that he understands that something like the Batman, it can exist in his plans as an Elseworld story, and like the fact that he's using Elseworlds, like this is something where you have a guy who has a deep understanding of the comics. He has a deep understanding of the universe that he's drawing from. And he's using all those components to kind of build out something that could be really cool. Now, obviously, we know it's impossible for James Gunn to write and direct all of these. I know he's kind of doing some treatments and some story ideas and some laying the groundwork for things. But I think that he's a smart enough guy to understand he needs to let all of these other creators who he's going to be bringing into the tent have their say and have their kind of vision, explored. And I think he's even talked about how he wants it to be a kind of a really creative space for the people who are coming to work and really having their voices reflected in the work that they're going to be doing, a bit more than Marvel. The criticisms of Marvel over the years is that oftentimes the creators get drowned out by the Marvel style, right? So Gunn has talked about that. So it's good news, man. Like he's saying the right things to see if he executes.
Right. Well, let's hope so. I'm a little bit worried that it might be a little too samey. But let's look specifically at some of the movies that have been announced. And Mr. Green, you mentioned you don't want the grim dark too much, but one of the things they announced is a grim dark take on Supergirl, based on, I think it was Tom King's Woman of Tomorrow, which I haven't read. Confession here. So there's a Superman Legacy movie coming, a younger Superman, and a lot of fans are not happy simply because it's not Henry Cavill. We got the eye roll over here. There's The Authority, which was a Wildstorm series by Warren Ellis and friends, which I really enjoyed at one point. Brave and the Bold, to me, is the most interesting. It's Batman and Son basically meets the Brave and the Bold cartoon, from what I've heard. And incidentally, I've done a little bit of writing for that comic book. And then, like, as I mentioned, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and then Swamp Thing. All right, what's jumping out at you here, Mr. Green, and what's making you roll your eyes?
Oh, okay. I get it. Henry Cavill, he made a great looking Superman for sure. Visually, he's pretty freaking cool. And secondly,
cool.
And he never got a proper chance to show us what he could do as a Superman. However, get over it. It's done. He's gone. Move on. Right? Like what? Like this whole concept, it's no different than the release the Snyder Cut nonsense, right? Like giving in, and even Warner now is admitting to the fact that they should never have given in on that. And I was saying it right from the get-go. Never, ever acquiesce to a terrorist.
So, but what do you think about the Superman Legacy project?
I think it sounds great. I have no problem with it. It's one of the ones that I'm looking forward to. It's that and the Swamp Thing. The Supergirl, I don't have any real connection with it because I didn't read Tom King's run either. So, but regardless, like going back to what you were saying about how, me talking about the grimdark, here's the thing. Grimdark is exactly what we got out of Zack Snyder. What I'm talking about is you can still do serious, mature storytelling and not be grimdark. And I believe, based off of Gunn's previous films and his history, that we are going to get that in what we're about to see out of what they're going to produce.
All right, so Superman Legacy and Swamp Thing are your must-sees. What about you, Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said, I'm interested in seeing the Superman movies simply because, Gunn's reference All-Star Superman, which for a lot of people is like one of the greatest Superman stories ever told. So the fact that that's the Superman that they're kind of using as their North Star, or at least one of those primary sources, it's really cool. Obviously, excellent book. Like I said, Batman and Robin in the Brave and the Bold using Damian Wayne. I love Damian. I fucking love Damian Wayne. I know Green doesn't, but I love Damian Wayne.
It's the only knock on it.
I love him. I love him. And it's interesting to me. Like I said, it's interesting to me that you're presumably, if you're using Damian, you're like 2-3 Robins in, depending, or 4 if they actually go full on with the history. You at least have to have Dick before him and then move into this. But I imagine they're going to kind of go full legacy. So it's interesting that it sounds like they're going to have an older Batman who's been through some Robins and then a young Superman, which is interesting. If it's all kind of taking place at the same time. If there's like timeline jumps and shit, then who knows? That's intriguing to me. I'm interested to see if we do, like, hopefully Dick has been Robin and is now Nightwing in this version of reality, and we can get like the Batman and like Dick as Batman at some point with teaming up with Damian. That'd be really cool. But to talk about like what we have at hand, I'm super stoked about Swamp Thing. I think that's going to be really cool. The Superman book, or the Superman picture, and the Batman and Robin in Brave and the Bold, those are the ones for me. Authority, I've read it, I've enjoyed it. I'm interested to see which version of the Authority they go with, if it is the actual kind of like classic version, or if it's going to be like the Manchester Black stuff and all that. So it's cool. Like the TV side is very intriguing to me as well. I know we're going to get into that.
Yeah, let's move on to the television side. So what they've announced as far as the Creature Commandos show, I don't even remember if these are live action or any of them. That's animated. Okay, so that's live animated. There's Amanda Waller show, that's which connects to Creature Commandos. There's a Booster Gold show,
live action,
right? Lanterns, which was
live action,
as buddy cop movie in space, or buddy cop show in space, right? True Detective with Lanterns, which sounds very strange to me. And the last one, Paradise Lost, about Themyscira, Paradise Island, Wonder Woman, and Friends. Kris, what's jumping out at you here, and what's making you go, eh?
Well, I mean, anybody who knows me at all or reads the comics column knows I fucking love Green Lantern. So the fact that we're getting a spotlight on the Lanterns, we're getting, a Hal Jordan, John Stewart buddy cop show. I mean, is it a buddy cop show? Is it a procedural? I mean, True Detective in space sounds awesome to me. I love the first season of True Detective. But what they've described it, I mean, the log line of like they're investigating some deep mystery that's going to hold, consequences for the DC universe. I'm hoping it's like, we're diving into the history of the Guardians and the Parallax and all that shit. That'd be really cool. But actually treat it as this weird kind of gothic crime investigation show, but in space. That's intriguing to me. Of the other stuff, I mean, it all sounds interesting. Creature Commandos, Waller, Themyscira, the Paradise Lost show. And what was the other one? You said one other one. There was one other one, wasn't it? Oh, yes, Booster Gold. Booster Gold, man. Like, I'm not like the most gigantic Booster Gold fan, but I will say that the episode of Justice League Unlimited where Booster Gold is like the main character is one of my favorite episodes of Justice League Unlimited. And if you can make a whole show that's as fun as that episode, man, I'm in. Like, let's do it. Let's see what we got.
All right. That's enough of James Gunn and the DC Studios. Let's move on to the next headline: Switch hit or miss. So rumors abound that there's a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro coming out maybe towards the end of this year. People pointed evidence such as Xbox signing a deal with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty over. The current Switch is not powerful enough for a game like that.
Nope.
They've announced some DLC and graphic updates for recently released games like Pokemon. Oh my goodness, what is it called again? The one that just came out. My kids are playing it. Not Scarlet and Violet. Anyway, the one that just came out. And also the upcoming Zelda game. So, Mr. Green, is this happening? And do you give a shiz?
Only if I can buy one. That's when I would care.
What is stopping you from buying one?
Two things: A, availability, and 2, just sheer cost. The other part of it,
we can line up together for one.
Yeah. The other thing is, of course, is that like I haven't had to technically speaking, no, that's not true. I tell a lie. I've only ever owned one Nintendo, but it was a Game Boy. That's it. I've never owned any other Nintendo ever.
Wow.
I've always been a like Atari. Then I went to Sega. Then I went to PlayStation. Right. So, but I have always been interested in the Switch. So to me, that's kind of a a cool idea. I guess it's going to depend on what it can do besides the game section. What beyond the games is it?
You mean like streaming or?
Yeah, like if there's going to be some additional functionality in there that you can do, then that would also potentially draw me into it. But I still love the idea of docking it and having it play on my TV, undocking it and playing it handheld. I think those are really cool. And if the pro version allows us to do cooler games, then especially for the hardcore gamers, that's awesome.
Mr. Johnson,
Yep.
I remember you being a Nintendo fan, so
Yeah.
are you as excited about this as I am?
Yeah. Like I am a big fan of docking too. Green. I really love docking. Docking is great. Of many different things. So what I will say
You're
is
not going to touch that.
he just kept talking about docking, and I was like, listen, man, again, you cannot let that lie. So, well, first of all, this is definitely fucking happening. I mean, if you look at the history of Nintendo consoles, they put one out every 5 to 6 years like clockwork since NES, right? So it's been, I think, 6 years as of this month since the release of the original Switch. So unless they restarted the clock when the OLED came out 2 years ago, we're due, right? And the OLED, all that was a screen upgrade, so that doesn't fucking count. So there's definitely got to be one coming down the pipe. I mean, a lot of people, when you look at Tears of the Kingdom, which is the new Zelda game, the trailer that they put out for it, a lot of people are like, there's no fucking way that the current system is going to be able to run that without crazy lag popping up here and there, right? So a lot of folks, like, they're the words on the street is there's possibly going to be like a surprise drop of the system when Tears of the Kingdom comes out. I don't know about that, but I think that by the end of the year we'll probably see a new Switch. I'm stoked about it. Like, I have a PS4. I haven't gotten myself a PS5 yet just because of the shortages and stuff like that. But my kid wanted a Switch for Christmas one year, so we picked it up. And I've been playing it, and I gotta say, it is one of the easiest to use systems I've ever played in my life. It's one of the most fun and convenient systems I've ever played with in my life. My kid loves it. Backwards compatibility on the network with all the other Nintendo systems. The access to all those games is amazing. For anybody who's a Nintendo fan,
So
Sega
do you
shit's
like
on there
Nintendo
too.
or not?
I
Mr.
fucking love Nintendo.
Oh, okay, I wasn't getting
yeah.
that. I wasn't getting
bro.
that.
Yeah, bro. I love.
All right,
Nintendo.
so we are actually beyond our halfway mark at this point, and we're running on time. So I have a bunch of headlines to get to. So let's go to a speed round.
Okay.
At this point, there'll be a sound effect.
Explain the speed round.
The speed round will go like this. I will throw out a headline, and I will throw it to one of you guys, and you have 30 seconds to respond, opine, give your opinion, and then we'll go to the next guy, and then we'll move on. So here we go. Headline number 1 for the speed round: Netflix and shill. Netflix is cracking down on account sharing in Canada, Portugal, Spain, New Zealand for some strange reason. They claim that 100 million households are sharing accounts. They're losing money. They're looking at charging an extra $3 for this. Mr. Green, what does this mean?
Nothing. It means nothing. People are going to complain. People are going to drop it. And then some people are going to come back on the service, or they're not going to care. At the end of the day, like, it is what it is. There's a million other streaming services out there. I don't think this is a big deal. I don't. As much as everybody complains about pay it's extra $3. No, I don't care. I don't care.
But Mr. Johnson, is this going to make their money back? I mean, if you're not paying for it in the first place, are you going to pay for it now?
Here's the fucking problem. I've already got like the highest level whole thing like package because I have a bunch of people on my Netflix shit. So I actually did buy additional streams. Now I feel fucking dirty and I hate it. But it's my parents and stuff. So everyone wants their fucking 4K, and it's you get on the same thing. So it sucks. I hope it really impacts their bottom line. I hope a whole bunch of people not like me say fuck you at Netflix and get the hell out of there so that they reverse course on this. But it's just them trying to squeeze. Everybody's trying to squeeze as much blood from the stone as they possibly can, and Netflix is doing the same. So the issue is now you're going to see a bunch of other fucking guys doing the same thing, other streaming services. It's going to suck. Yeah.
There it is. It is. All right. Speed round headline number 2, brand new Rey. So recently, Daisy Ridley has expressed interest in reprising her role as Rey in the Star Warses. And I read an article on CBR suggesting that maybe she could get the Andor treatment. Mr. Johnson, do we
Yeah.
need this or want this? 30 seconds.
I mean, I'm not really. I like Rey as a character. I'm not against Rey. I think they really dropped the ball with the last trilogy. I would like to see more of her character at some point, but I feel like we need to let it lie for a bit. Just give it a few fucking years and come back to it. Like it's too early. Like I want them to move away from the Skywalker saga for a bit. So let her rest. Come back to it later.
Mr. Green, brand new Ray or nay?
I'm okay with it because I love Star Wars. So any and all Star Wars is I know it's shocking. I know it's completely shocking. It's and actually I think I have a Ray on the shelf somewhere there. Dark Side Ray. But anyways, no, I'm cool with it if they do it right. They give her the proper treatment and just keep it to like 8 episodes, right? I would like it in the future, of course. And I don't disagree with Kris. Maybe wait another 5 or 6 years. Maybe she's a little bit older, and we can see that version of Ray. I think would be kind of interesting and cool, but like give it some room and some space. That we definitely need that.
Well, you're both wrong because what we need is more Finn, but that's me.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
that was what you posited.
30 seconds. Headline, speed round headline number 3. AI need a job too. So AI and chatbots are writing essays for students. BuzzFeed apparently used chatbots to write some articles. I'm sure you guys have seen short stories and novels and gulp comics created by AI. Mr. Green, is my job as a comic book writer in danger?
Absolutely not. Period. End of story. It is not. Will it get rid of some writing jobs? Yeah, most likely it will. Most of those jobs initially are going to go into newspapers and things like that, which are going to be doing all the bullshit jobs that do like stock reporting, sports reporting, all of that stuff where it's just numbers. Those are the ones. Creativity writing that is creative, like that you do, Jay, and that Kris has done, that is safe because the AI is not capable of continuing to do consistently independent creative stuff. And I don't think yours or any other writer's job is.
So Kris, do I need to update my resume?
Well, it's funny because Green and I had a huge fucking debate about this exact subject, like, I don't know, a little while ago. What I would say is you don't have anything to worry about. But I think that lower level people who are trying to break in are going to have a problem in the coming years. I think that the people who are cheap, the people who don't have the money to kind of launch their own ideas and whatever, they're not going to hire people. They're just going to try to fucking pull it off with AI and see what they're going to do.
Listen,
So
I could always go back to dancing, So I'm
yeah. Just as long as it just depends on what you're willing to take off, right? So, so I think you're safe. I think that the new folks coming down the pipe when they're trying to work for like a smaller entity, I think they're gonna have difficulty breaking in. But creating their own shit,
all right.
No, of course not.
All right, speed round headline. I've lost track. I think this is 3 or 4. Fantastic. First. So apparently an FF movie will be coming out before the XMen movie, so saith Marvel Studios producer Nate Moore. But he also said in a recent interview with Deadline that the Fantastic Four movie will be surprising. Kris, does this sound promising or give you pause?
Well, I like the fact they got Matt Jackman directing it. I was a big fan of WandaVision, but I'm also a huge fan of his directing back from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I'm interested to see what he brings to the table for this movie. When they say surprising, I hope they go fucking crazy with it. I hope they do some shit like it's in the 1960s and they get stuck in time some point and then like somebody finds them. That'd be cool as shit. If you do like a space race 1960s Fantastic Four movie, I would love that. I don't know if that's what they're doing, but if they go like that wild, yeah, I'm in. Like, let's see it.
Mr. Green, for me, surprising could be a musical, a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Who knows what? Is this a good thing for you? This word surprising?
Yeah, they're going to introduce the X-Men.
Bait and switch.
That's I'm being dead serious. It's going to be an FF movie that is going to open that door to allow us to understand that the mutants exist, and then for X number of different reasons, no pun intended, absolutely there. But I think it's going to happen here, and this is a good way of doing it. That because they have the ability within the FF's universe and of storytelling that they could do something wacky like that to bring the X-Men in and still make sense within the MCU.
All right. Well, I'd like to see a Fantastic Four musical myself. All right. So one more speed round headline. What the Helen? So never mind the word surprising. On that episode of the Graham Norton show, Helen Mirren, who plays one of the bad guys in the forthcoming Shazam Fury of the Gods sequel, said that the plot to the movie was confusing. Uh-oh, Mr. Green.
Here, listen. Okay. Could it be that it's really super confusing and it's going to be dumb and nobody's going to like it? I don't think it really matters. At the end of the day, I think Helen Mirren has, at her age and everything like that, and if she doesn't like superhero movies, that could be part of this too. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense to her, all that whiz bang weirdness about superhero movies. Regardless, this is a lame duck movie that everybody knows is not going to continue on. So like the box office is going to stink anyways. Like, so we just got to get through this. We got to get through this, and we got to get through the Flash. And then when we get to Blue Beetle, that's the beginning of the future.
Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it matters, but by the same token, and Helen Mirren's old. Like, I watched the interview. I saw what she had to say. She didn't sound like she was slagging it. She just sounded like it's a little bit like, but she signed on.
She was being honest.
She signed on to do this movie because she was a fan of the first one, because she thought it was fun, sweet, and all that stuff, right? So that's cool. And I think that she's in it for the right reasons, and people are going to go see that movie because it's going to be funny and they're going to have a good time, and that's why they want to watch it. And I would like to get back to, like, I love interconnected universes, but I want to get back to, we're going to see a movie because this movie's going to be good. I don't, if it leads to something else cooler down the road, great, but this one will be good, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to see it anyway. I love the Big Red Cheese, and incidentally, for those of you following my work, stay tuned.
You're writing them? Oh, okay.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we are nearing the end of the show, and to end every show, I would like to do this little game we call, Mr. Green, this game we call
There Can Be Only One.
There Can Be Only One. I always flip that and say there can only be one. But anyway, so this is another kind of lightning round just for fun. There can be only one, Mr. Green. More Mando. Mandalorian just dropped recently, the first episode or second episode of the new.
First, season. I just got the preview to the second. That's all.
Okay, you're special.
Yeah.
So more Mando or new Rey. There can be only one, Mr. Green.
More Mando. Period. There's not even. It's not even an argument.
Maybe. Mr. Johnson, more Mando or new Rey? There can be only one.
Yeah, more Mando. More Mando.
Well, you're both wrong because the answer is more Andor. All right, the next one. There can be only one, Mr. Green. Gritty Supergirl or confusing Shazam 2 movie?
Gritty Supergirl. Yeah, sorry, man. I know you like the big red cheese, but I just Supergirl. I think it'd be a more interesting film. Shazam. Just let's move on.
Kris, there can be only one, Supergirl or Shazam.
Yeah. Let's see Supergirl. Sorry. I love Shazam though, but let's see more Supergirl.
Of course. We love Shazam in his buff fat suit or whatever that's called. Bodysuit. All right, suit. Mr. Green, there can be only one, an FF movie or an XMen movie.
He's cheating. Because this movie's both.
Yeah, no. But in the purest sense of his question, I'm gonna go with I'm still gonna go with FF because we've had X-Men before. We've had multiple X-Men films, and we've seen a lot of bad X-Men films. We've never seen either good or bad FF. So I would give a chance to FF.
I can name a couple of bad FF movies, but anyway, Mr. Johnson, Fantastic Four.
We're not counting those.
I'm going with Fantastic Four because my favorite X-Man is Wolverine, and we're getting him in Deadpool 3. So I'm good fucking right. I'm set up. Give me Fantastic Four, baby.
Once again, you're both wrong because if there can only be one Marvel movie, it needs to be Alpha Flight. All right. So of course. There can be only one. A graphic novel memoir of the life and times of Helen Mirren, written by AI or written by me, Mr. Green. Wow, like this should be you guys should answer like that.
No, it's a funny question, but no, of course I'm going to take you. I am going to take you, of course.
Oh shucks. And Mr. Kris, I'm sure you're going to say I'm waiting.
There can be only one.
And that is
it's you.
No,
you're experiencing the quickening.
It's a
fucking sword in the sky, you son of a bitch.
It's Helen Mirren behind the scenes at the confusing Shazam movie by J. Torres, the new graphic novel. All right, so that is all the news we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for doing this, Kris. Can you tell the folks where to find you online?
Sure. Every week I am doing new comics picks with Andrew Young on the geekcardshow.com website. You can also find me on the Twitters and the Instagrams at the Chris J. Johnson or Chris J. Johnson, depending on which one you head to. So see you there.
And thank you, Mr. Green, for helping us out with this. Hype some stuff now, please.
Well, of course, every Friday night at 7 on realityradio101.com is, of course, Geek Card. Check out our website, geekcardshow.com. You'll find tons of stuff, including some of the stuff that Kris does and all our other podcasts. So come check that out. And actually check out patreon.com/geekcard. That would be awesome as well.
Yeah.
And I'm Jay Torres, and you can find me on the socials under J Torres Comics. So thank you for geeking out with us, and we hope you join us again next time, if there is a next time, for some more hard takes. And remember, if you're gonna geek out, together now, 1, 2, 3.
Geek hard.
Oh wow!
Wow, you guys are not good at that.
Yeah, well, let's try that again. And remember, if you're gonna geek out,
geek
Geek
hard.
hard.
You guys are way too long in delays.
Okay, we're done. If you remember to geek out and geek hard. All right, goodbye. Thank you.